YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am bringing you my bookshelf tour part 3. This shelf, this is the very tippy top by the ceiling of the room, 9 feet in the air. I'm on a ladder. And this is where I keep kind of stuff I'm not going to look at all the time, but I do want to have. So right here, I have Dean Koontz' Frankenstein series. I know, Dean Koontz is not an author you like associate with Amanda Venture and the Naughty Librarian, but the Frankenstein series is super good. Surprisingly so. I really enjoyed it. And then here, you kind of got my big smut collection because Harlequin Nocturnes, I'll just pull out one randomly. The Witch's Hunger of Witches, Deborah LeBlanc. You know those like monthly subscription Harlequin books? They have all kinds of different variations of them. Like up here I have the Harlequin, what are these ones? Harlequin Intrigue, which is kind of like romantic suspense. So I have a few of those up there. Harlequin Desire is just like, it's a Texas wedding escape. So they have all different kinds and varieties of Harlequins. And then my collection is the Nocturnes. They actually do not make these anymore. It was their paranormal romance series. And all of the books in the series are ridiculous. Like, it's just like smut and this like Mad Libs. So it's just like witch, vampire, they do it. Or vampire, werewolf, they do it. And then so on and so forth. And they're great. So every time I do see a Harlequin Nocturne, like at a library book sale, I always make sure I get it. This next shelf, this is the very top shelf underneath the tippy top shelf. And this is kind of where I have all of my like urban fantasy, paranormal romance stuff. I try to keep it all in like one area. There's a couple shelves for it because I like smutty vampires. Oh. Anyway, so this is just like a mishmash of all different authors, all different genres, but it's all paranormal romance, urban fantasy. Right here I have Janine Frost. I've been meaning to read more Janine Frost because I haven't really read a lot of her stuff. But at the time I am filming this, we are going to be reading Halfway to the Grave for the Wicked Spirits book club. I'm very excited for it. So I'm finally going to be getting into her stuff more. This is my skull friend. I just like it because it lights up too. So we can just have this be fun for now. And then I got Arwen. And over here we got some more stuff. This is a little bit more sci-fi and fantasy, Amanda Boucher. I really do enjoy Amanda Boucher. She's actually kind of fun. I want to read more of her stuff. I've read Night Chaser, which is her sci-fi. I do want to get into like her, I think it's called the Kingmaker series, but I do want to read that one. It's more fantasy, kind of gladiators, I think. Then I have a little bit of historical romance over here because I ran out of room in my historical romance section, so they kind of spilled over. But I got a few Tessa Dares here, some Eva Lee, which is surprisingly very good. Eva Lee, they're very sex positive, and I like the author because she never pretends her books just aren't smutty. She's very sex positive in her books, and they're really fun. And there's a little bit of Cressley Cole down here. I have my hardcover editions of both The Duchess Deal and The Governess Game by Tessa Dare. Oh, she's my queen. So I have all of this stuff kind of cohabitating. The next shelf is still more of my paranormal romance, urban fantasy section. So I have a little Cressley Cole. This is a new adult series, Arcana Chronicles. And you know what? More people need to read this. It's kind of brilliant and I'm obsessed. It's really good. And then these ones are really good too. Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. They are kind of sci-fi. There's superhero romance, kind of satire. Very funny, delightfully wonderful. Bitten and Stolen, they're both part of the Otherworld series. So those are like werewolves. They made a Netflix show about it, which I've always wanted to watch. So I have a couple of the books. I probably should read those. Now over here, we're getting into more widely known paranormal romance novel authors because we have Lindsay Sands, who has written like a bajillion books. And I've just gotten some of her books randomly from library book sales pretty much. So it's whatever I find, I get. And then I have some Carolyn Sparks, another one who's also very popular, has a bajillion books out. Okay, this one I have just because it's a ridiculous cover. The Very Virile Viking. It has alliteration. It has a cartoon Viking on it. It's supposed to be very smutty. What edition is this? Is this a first? Let me see. Well, considering it doesn't have any other editions, I think this might be a first edition and it's ridiculous looking, but I got it just because, like, why would you not buy that? And then over here, I have my wonderful Kate Daniels series by Alona Andrews. I love this series. Actually, On the Edge is a different series, but I had some extra space, so it goes there. But the Kate Daniels series, it is so long. It's like 10 books. There's a bunch of novellas in there, but really, really good. Epic fantasy. Well, not epic, it's urban fantasy, but it feels epic because it's 10 books long. And it's one of the best urban fantasy series I've ever read. Like, honestly, if you're looking for good urban fantasy, Alona Andrews has never let me down. The best. This next shelf, this is kind of one you do see on videos because this is like head level for me. Again, I'm shorter than people think. But this is kind of head level, so this is stuff you see in videos. But let's go over it. Over here, I have my Throne of Glass section. I absolutely love this series. Oh my goodness, I'm just a Throne of Glass kind of girl. I like it better than ACOTAR. I'm sorry, but I do. Also, I got a couple cool little candles from the series. I have an Ailing candle and I have the 13. So those kind of hang out here because I like to match merch. Moving over, I have my Claire Legrand section because Claire Legrand has quickly become an auto by author for me. Anything she puts out, I'm probably going to love. I started with Furyborn. I absolutely loved it. It's feminist epic fantasy. Loved it to bits. And then she came out with Sawkill Girls, which legitimately, this was my favorite book of 2018. And I read 140 books in 2018. So that is saying something. Out of 140 books, this was my favorite. It is wonderful. It's feminist horror. It's like one of those weird horror movies you watch where you're like, I have no idea what's happening, but I know it's stunning. It's like that for a lot of it. It's so good. I totally recommend it. Like, seriously. I will not shut up about it. I cannot stop recommending it to people. Now I have my Kiersten White section. Kiersten White is an author I've been reading for years and years and years, but I love Kiersten White, so like I have to read her books. It's like required, another auto by author for me. I have the Conqueror series. This is basically the story of Vlad Dracul, but as if Vlad was a girl. And it is a historical fiction based on historical fact. It's so well written. It's one of the best written things I've ever read. And then Elizabeth Frankenstein, I have the arc of that one. And now, you're over here in my wonderful Red Rising series section. So I have Red Rising, the special edition. I have Golden Sun, Morning Star, Iron Gold, and Dark Age. I have the whole series. I love this series with so much passion in my heart. It's one of the best things I've ever read. I do want it right by my face when in my videos because like it's close to my heart. I want it like front and center. Also, if you notice this little pop figure, this is my custom Victra. I made her because one day I was like, I saw this pop in a store and I was like, ooh, that looks like Victra if it was painted different. So I was like, I'm gonna paint this different. So I bought it, I brought it home, I repainted it, and now it's Victra, who is my favorite character in the Red Rising series. So I feel proud of myself that I made a custom pop. So, ta-da. Hey, what do you know? It's more paranormal romance. I have a soft spot for it. I definitely like paranormal romance. That was like my first foray into romance. It was definitely paranormal. It has, you know, branched out from there. But at my heart, I'm still a paranormal romance kind of girl. So I have another shelf. These are like my first ones I ever read that I ever fell in love with. So I have the Immortals After Dark series by Kresley Cole. And I'll just pull this one out in particular. So, Dark Needs a Night's Edge. It's so tacky and I love it. But this is actually the very, very, very first romance novel I ever read. And I was in college and my friend gave it to me and she's like, hey, you should read this. A ghost and a vampire do it. And I was like, tell me more. And I took it and I read it. And I absolutely loved it. It's like book 4 of the series. So I went back to the beginning, read all the books up to here, and then continued on. I have read every single book of this series and I will pretty much auto buy anything Kresley Cole writes. She is brilliant. I love all of her books. I do kind of worry about going back and rereading some of these because I feel like they might be products of their time more so than others, but this one, my very first one. Over here, I have some Lara Adrian books. This is the Midnight Breed series. This is another one of the first forays into romance I did. These are vampires who are also aliens. I know it gets weird, but like if you just go with it, like it kind of makes sense. It's very smutty. It's very action-packed. Vampires who are also aliens. Like, what else do you want? And then right here, I have to bring this one up. I want to bring special attention to Sealed with a Curse by Ceci Robson. This is the first book of the Weird Girls series, and honestly, this is some of the best urban fantasy books I've ever read. They are laugh out loud hysterical. They are sexy. They are action-packed. They have such a great storyline. The characters are amazing. I wish more people would read this. It's so freaking good. Oh my gosh. The whole series is good. This is just book 1 and I happen to have it, but seriously, pick this series up. You will not be disappointed. And then got my shade button. And also, I haven't pointed out my little friend, so I have my lucky kitty. There was this tiny sushi bar by my house, and every Christmas they gave out Christmas presents. So like we'd go in December and they'd be like, oh, here you go, and they would just give us presents. So I got this from my local sushi bar, and it's a piggy bank, and it's my lucky kitty. So I just love it. It was like an accidental find. And then I have sexy Jeff Goldblum because, I mean, I think he's perfect to put with romance novels. And then I have another skull friend because skulls are cool. Moving on over here, I have an audiobook actually by Danica Dark. She wrote the Keystone series, and she wrote the Seven series. Some of my favorite urban fantasy series is, honestly, they're paranormal romance. The Seven series has like werewolves in it. Keystone is more like, oh, I heard the clip clop of toenails from my dog. Batman! Batman! Hi! Everyone wanted you to be in the video again. Okay, so Batman's gonna hang out with us, but yes, Danica Dark, some of the best urban fantasy I've read. I definitely recommend her stuff. I won that from her. She did like an Instagram giveaway and I won. I was like, okay, see, I wasn't shading anybody, but my shade button just like has an opinion of its own apparently, but I won the audiobook and I was very excited about it. Over here, I have my Gina Showalter section. Gina Showalter was one of my first romance novel authors I really loved. Her and Kresley Cole were like friends, so they always like shouted at each other, so that's how I got into her books, because I was into Kresley Cole. And early Gina Showalter is amazing. There's a lot of her books that I absolutely love. She has multiple series. This is all pretty much Lords of the Underworld, which is like her main series. And then she has like the Alien Huntress series, which is really good. She has all this, she has like a sci-fi alien series. She has like, you know, these ones are kind of based like Greek gods. And they're very good, the early ones. I will say Gina Showalter is an author I'm kind of growing out of. Moving on down, this one, you might see just like a little tippy top part in my videos, but this is kind of more fantasy stuff. Right here I have all of my Melissa Meyer books. I just kind of put them all together. I absolutely love the Lunar Chronicles. It's one of my favorite series. Now, Renegades and its sequel, Arch Enemies, like, it has everything in it that you think would be good. It's, you know, Melissa Meyer writing sci-fi again. Cool. She's really good at the Lunar Chronicles, and then she writes that one in superheroes, and it's really bad. I only have them because they're signed. If they weren't signed, I think I might have gotten rid of them. But whatever. They're not very good, but they're still on my shelf. And then I have Lunar Chronicles, my babies. I love them. They are all signed. I've luckily got to meet Melissa Meyer a couple times. This one is a UK edition that I found at a library book sale. I was very excited about. I'm like, oh, UK! So whenever I find like a UK edition, I get very excited. And then I have my Victoria Schwab section with my fun snow globe. So I have some V.E. Schwab stuff. I have my Shades of Magic series, Darker Shade of Magic, you know, all that jazz. All of it right here. I read it. It's not my favorite series from her. I feel like you're either like this fantasy series fan or you're going to be a Vicious and Vengeful fan. I am way more into Vicious and Vengeful. Like when I read Vicious, I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best things I've ever read in my life. So I'm definitely more Vicious Vengeful, which is about like super villains and basically what happens if shitty people get superpowers. Nothing good happens. I have the Bone Witch series by Rin Chupeco. And then I have the Girls of Paper and Fire, Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nan. I have The Wrath and the Dawn. Oh, okay, Wrath and the Dawn. Very, very good by Renee Ahdieh. I love this book so much. And then Rose and the Dagger. I don't like it as much. It's not as good. I'm just going to say it's not as good. Then I have, right here's my Julie C. Dow section. Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. Legitimately, One of my favorite books I've ever read. So freaking good. It is a Snow White retelling, but it is told from the Evil Queen's perspective, and it's kind of an origin story, but so amazingly done. Ugh, so good. And then, I should bring this one up because this is the ARC. Oh my gosh. My friend Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany, she went to BEA BookCon and she got me one. She got me one and it's signed to me. Like, I almost cried when she sent it to me. I was so excited. It's one of my most anticipated books of this year. Holy shit, I have it. And also, I have an ARC of Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow, which also comes out, I believe, November 2019. So, yes, I'm very excited for that little section. Well, I think we are filming through a bat tail, but that's all right. So this is the next shelf. We are in Batman's territory. Batman, get out of there. Come here. Batman, sit. Such a good boy. Hi. I'm holding him awake because he's about 1 second from putting that tongue in my mouth. Oh, no. Don't laugh. He knows it's true. Anyway, hopefully you can see the books through Batman, but if not, I'll just tell you what's here. So this is my Batman area shelf. So right here I have my Richelle Mead section. So I have Vampire Academy, I have the Bloodline series, 12 books by Richelle Mead. And the thing is, I do genuinely really enjoy Richelle Mead. Batman, just chewing on his butt. Anyway, Richelle Mead is like my teenage melodrama thirst trap because I will never not be into those books. They're so good, like legitimately so juicy, so melodramatic. I love it. And there's just vampire action. Like, what's not to like? I so love them so much. This one, I don't know why it's here, besides it's the only place I found space for it. So this is Magic for Liars by Sarah Gailey. This one is kind of like Harry Potter noir. Hey, Batman. And then right here, I know this is overflow. I'm trying my best not to have like double stacked books, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So I have Bird Box and I have Inspection, both by Josh Malerman. And I love Bird Box. It's legitimately one of my favorite books of 2019. I know it didn't come out in 2019, but I read it in 2019. So it's legitimately one of my favorite books this year. Like, I read it all in one day. I couldn't stop reading it. And I closed the back cover of the book, and my first thoughts that I said out loud were, fuck, that's good. So yes, that's my expert opinion, is fuck, that's good. So I definitely recommend Bird Box. No, I have not seen the movie. Everyone asks me that. I still haven't seen it because I love the book so much. I don't want to ruin it. So I haven't watched the movie. I have Enchantment of Ravens and I have Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. Margaret Rogerson is kind of like a new find of an author for me. But like, I love her books, genuinely. She has such an interesting voice. I know she said one of her biggest influences is Diana Wynne something. I forget her last name. She wrote Howl's Moving Castle. But Diana Wynne is the first two parts of that name. And those are her, like, that's her main influence. And I feel like it comes out in the writing. And they're very interesting. So she's kind of like an auto-by-author for me now. She's like a new find, but I really like her stuff. And then I have Labyrinth Lost and Bruja Born by Zoraida Cordova. That one's really, really cool because it deals with brujeria. And I haven't really read a lot of books featuring, you know, Latin witches, and they're very fun, they're very action-packed, they're interesting, they have great bisexual rep, surprisingly. So I do recommend that series, it's really fun. This one, The Boneless Mercies, I bought it because that's a dope title and that's a dope cover. Like, it's a total cover buy. I know it's a gender-swapped Beowulf retelling, which also sounds, like, amazing, and that's a great cover. I don't know if it's good, though, because I have not looked up any reviews. All I heard was gender-swapped Beowulf, and then I saw this cover, and I'm like, buying it. And over here, I have my I Have Number 4 series, the Lorien Legacy series, to be exact. And you know what? I freaking love this series. I don't care. I know they made kind of a shitty movie, but you know what? This book series is legitimately so good. It's so good. I'm like obsessed with it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And then, so there's 7 books of that series. I've read them all. I love them all. They're so good. And then there is a spin-off series. I only have the first book of it so far, but I've read the second book, and the third book just came out. So I need to read the third book. I've read the second book. I don't own it because I just don't own it. And then I have Red Queen. This is a special edition version of Red Queen, because just look at that cover. It's just a great cover. This is a book I didn't need to buy, but I bought it anyway. And also, it's like red on red. I love that it's monochromatic. It's got red stained edges. It's got a red cover. And then throughout the book, there's actually art. Let me see if I can find some. Here, there's some more art. And it's just a great edition. And I've met Victoria Aveyard a few times, so it is signed. But it's like, that's an impulse buy. I was just like, ooh, it's so pretty. I had to buy it. I do own the rest of the series, but they are on another shelf, so you're going to have to wait to see that tour to see the rest of the books. All right, here we are at the bottom. Batman might come and say hello again. I'm not sure. We kind of distracted him for a minute, but this is my bottom shelf. We're at the end of this video. So right here, I have my DC Icons section. Surprisingly, these are amazing books. I mean, they are written by very popular authors. Like Leigh Bardugo wrote Wonder Woman, Marie Lu wrote Batman, Sarah J. Maas wrote Catwoman. And then I have Zenith and Nexus. This is the Andromeda series. You know what? Everyone hated Zenith. I get it. There's a lot of problems with it, but if you just don't mind the problems, it's actually pretty fun. I actually kind of like Zenith. I think I'm the only person, but my dog just chased the cat. And over here, I have two Beauty and the Beast retellings, because why not? They should be next to each other. Right here, oh my goodness gracious, I forgot about this series by Claudia Gray. Is this Constellation Saga. Defy the Stars is legit one of the best books I've ever read. It's so good. It's a book I found accidentally at Y'all West because the author was there doing a signing, so I'm like, oh, I'll buy the book. Looks kind of good. Then I read it and I was like, holy fuck, it's so good. So I recommend this one, definitely. I will say Defy the World, though, the sequel, gets very dark. It is a very dark book, so be aware. And then right here, I have my Nalini Singh section. Oh my goodness. She's best known for her Side Changeling series, which I have a bunch of because I've got them basically all from library book sales. I'm a champion. But I read her Rock Addiction series, and it's basically smutty rock stars, and this book is so smutty. Oh my gosh, if you want a smutty rock star book, like hello. So smutty. Smutty to the max. And you know what? I actually really, really liked it. It's a contemporary romance series. I really, really liked it. And then I have a bunch of random stuff from her Side Changeling series, just because I have got them randomly at book sales, so I just always collect them. And I have a couple of her Archangel series, Guild Hunter series, sorry. We read Angel's Blood for Wicked Spears Book Club. I have a couple of those books. And then these ones I feel like I should bring up because they're ridiculous. I found them at a library book sale, and I was like, yeah. Oh, Robert Jordan, who writes a lot of fantasy nowadays. He wrote a Conan book, so I grabbed it. And then just like Wonder Woman. So I just grabbed a bunch of random like superhero books and I thought they were fun. Whew, alright, so I feel like I was very chatty during this video, so this might be a little long, but whatever, we're hanging out. Batman made another cameo, so you gotta see like behind the scenes, the books you don't always see on my shelves, you got more explanations. I felt like this was kind of successful. Let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite book you saw on my shelf that you haven't read before? Like, what am I adding to your TBR list? I both am very excited to add to your TBR list and also very sorry to make it even longer. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.